Hello and welcome to the presentation by Katherine, Taya, Tina, and Chantal. Today we will be presenting to you our proposal to redesign the digital tool ABCmouse, a learning website utilized for early learners ages 2 to 8. The limitations that we found and will be discussing in regards to this tool are specific to these group of learners. In this proposal, we will discuss what is ABCmouse, the theoretical lens we will be using to assess this digital learning tool. In this proposal, we will present in sequence our limitations for early learners, why we believe they are limitations, followed by our redesign proposals. What is ABCmouse? ABCmouse is a learning program that covers reading, math, art, music, and more for early learners, children 2 to 8 years old. According to the ABCmouse website, this learning tool was created by teachers and education experts. This learning tool has over 10,000 learning activities for children at all academic levels. ABCmouse is used in more than 70,000 classrooms and in nearly half of all U.S. public libraries, along with Ontario schools. Unfortunately, this is a subscription-based tool costing parents and guardians $12.99 US a month to use. However, subscriptions can be managed by the user and auto-renewal may be turned off at any time after purchase. To appropriately assess ABCmouse, we use a theoretical lens. For our theoretical lens, we will be using design justice and the principles. Design justice is a theory that rethinks the design process and centers people who are typically marginalized by design. There are 10 design principles, but the ones that we have used to help us to stay in line with said theory are 1. Use of design to sustain, heal, and empower our communities, along with liberating those who are oppressed. 2, we work towards substantial community-led and controlled outcomes. 3, we work towards non-exploitive solutions that reconnect us to each other. And number 4, before seeking new design solutions, we look for what is already working at the community level and how we honor and uplift traditional, indigenous, and local practices. When viewing from the lens of design justice, we noted the first limitation for early learners using ABCmouse, which is the lack of representation. ABCmouse lacks representation of people with various disabilities on both the home page and throughout the game. Throughout the app, we could not adequately identify people of different body sizes. And when trying to pick different languages, we noted that ABCmouse only allows users to choose from one of 2 languages, English and Spanish. We also identified that in one of the games, the workers are all minorities. Likewise, when children are given the opportunity to create their avatar, they are left with the decision to choose between hairstyles that are labeled messy hair or clean cut. Lastly, this digital tool does not represent non-binary or transgendered individuals for children creating their avatar to see themselves represented throughout the game. Why are these considered limitations? Well, when we look into one of our design principles, we see that the design of a digital tool should heal and empower our communities, along with liberating those who are oppressed. However, these said communities are not being empowered or properly represented. Research shows that creating realistic representation of the user group in far less clicks is beneficial for the user and perpetuates many gains. Therefore, not having adequate representation of children with disabilities, different body types, and or children who identify as non-binary or transgendered does not allow for said gains and benefits that a design tool should offer. On the other hand, having misrepresenting labels such as messy hair or clean cut can perpetuate stereotypes that particular hairstyles are more acceptable than others. According to Design Justice, Oftentimes, designers believe that they are engaged in an inclusive design process, when in reality, the personas are merely representations of designers' unvalidated biases about marginalized or oppressed communities. Subsequently, having workers that only represent minorities further perpetuates misbeliefs about marginalized or oppressed communities. Lastly, we believe that it is a limitation to only have English or Spanish options available to the users. According to Kostanaza Cook, a person unfamiliar with the Roman alphabet will not benefit from the perpetual information being offered. Likewise, with anyone who has ever tried to use a computer with menus set to an unfamiliar language. Not offering other languages as options create barriers for many potential users. With 23% of Ontario elementary students reporting English as not their first language, and approximately 1 in 10 students attending English language schools as an English language learner, we see the lack of language settings in the program as a design justice issue.
Students and teachers need educational technologies that are designed specifically for their underlying needs, not just their abilities. Video games provide players with a unique experience. The protagonist can be someone whom they identify with while playing. Since the user is looking for someone to identify with, personalization affordances, such as the ability to personalize their learning environment with avatars, minority hairstyles, skin tones, and features, should not be the last in the design list, as it can be frustrating for people to design their character. The designer should include bodies of differing sizes and different faces to represent anyone who plays. They should provide a spot with more customizations for limb differences, adding medical devices and religious garb. The names of the hair, skin, and clothing should have their proper names to avoid any injustices like clean cut or messy hair. A suggestion would be to number them all or call it short cut or tousled hair. Those most adversely affected by design decisions tend to have the least influence on how the decisions are made. It would be of best interest for ABCmouse designers to hire someone to ensure communities are represented equally in the video game. To inspire children to work towards leadership roles themselves, having a variety of adults that may look like them in a leadership and authority roles are important. To do this, they should have educators in the game of varying ethnicities, abilities, and genders to provide an inclusive gameplay instead of having minorities as mundane workers in the background. There's also an issue with languages in ABCmouse. In the game, they only accommodate English and Spanish, leaving gaps for anyone who would like to play the game. At minimum, they could add French, as they have a Canadian demographic, to ensure they are included in the program. This program is a language learning tool, and according to Garrison et al., gamification is an effective way to increase knowledge acquisition when compared to a traditional method. In order to create an effective video game that is tailored to the user, these changes are imperative to the success and longevity of ABCmouse.
As we continue to explore the limitations of our early learners using WAVE, an accessibility evaluation tool, we identified accessibility issues that were quite apparent. Please note that we use this tool as it aligns with design justice principles. One of the issues that was identified is the lack of heading structures on the home page. The second is contrast screen issues. And lastly, the keyboard navigation issues. As we ask ourselves once more, why are these considered limitations for early learners? We look towards design principles. One of the principles of design justice is that we work towards non-exploitative solutions that reconnect us to each other. And we aim to close the marginalized gap for early learners with disabilities. This principle applies well. According to design justice, pre-existing bias that exists in broader society, culture, and/or institutions is reproduced in computer systems, either intentionally or unintentionally, by system developers. So it is no surprise that these accessibility issues were not taken into consideration by the developers of ABCmouse. Contrast screen issues, lack of heading structure, And no page regions would be barriers for use for visually challenged users. Assisted technology such as screen readers, screen magnification software, closed captioning, and language translation software are not compatible with the programming of ABCmouse. To support all users, we propose the following. To replace text that is not recognized by screen readers with alternate text that would engage people who rely on screen readers to access all content of the screen. Although comprehension can be increased by color, it should not be the only way messages are conveyed. Supporting text should be positioned close to images. Increasing contrast of the screen would increase clarity for all users. All pages would have headings structures. Having captions or transcripts would ensure the program is screen reader friendly. Navigation elements of links and drop-down tabs would be visible so that they are acknowledged by screen readers, making it easier to ensure a complete understanding of the content. We would involve the users in the redesign, welcoming their critical, diacritical decisions throughout the process. These changes would allow all users to enjoy ABCmouse.
As we continue to look further into this app, another limitation that we want to touch on is the lack of support in the app. The app provides various games that children can choose from. The user can pick difficulty level to fit their ability and skill level best when playing these games. At level 1, user has to click on the puzzle pieces and it automatically go into the right spot. On the other hand, the user must physically move puzzle pieces over to match the right one at level 3. If the user does not match it correctly or need further assistance, there's no help or hint button to help support the user to the next step, which leaves them confused and frustrated. As we continually use the design principle as our foundation, we analyze through the perspective of working towards sustainable, community-led, and controlled outcomes. Therefore, we note that it is not sustainable for users to adequately function without proper tools. Studies show that designer groups often make normative assumptions about unmarked users. In this case, ABCmouse does not consider different types of learners, such as children whose English is a second language, children with learning disability, or children who have not interacted with technology. Other children have different learning style and skill level depending on background and prior knowledge. As a learner, there need to be challenges in order to gain new knowledge. When a child is at a manageable level, they're in their comfort zone as no learning will occur, leading to the child losing interest. On the other hand, the activities are too hard, children will become frustrated and likely to give up. To help children enjoy these games, designers should consider adding a hint or help button for users. Well-designed hint systems integrated into the game environment have more potential for success, particularly in educational contexts where providing high-quality help resource is crucial. Studies have shown that students perform better when systems provide hints. The most valuable hints respond when students make mistakes, providing a scaffold sequence of increasingly concrete information. In addition, designers should consider incorporating inclusive design. This design considers the full range of human diversity to ability, language, culture, gender, age, and other forms of human difference. An inclusive approach to design recognizes human diversity, respect the uniqueness of each individual, and acknowledge that given individual might experience different interaction with the same design, interface, or object depending on the context. Games are meant to be enjoyed, but when the user feels lost, confused, and frustrated, it defeats the purpose of fun.
We thank you for taking the time to consider our redesign proposal. We are confident that the suggestions we have listed in this presentation will yield a better experience for our early learners, consequently increasing the success of ABCmouse as a learning tool. Correspondingly, introducing these changes through the theoretical lens of design justice, coupled with design justice principles, we are assured that ABCmouse will provide its users a more inclusive gaming experience. Thank you for watching. Here are our references.